You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence.
Ooh, so that was Berkeley law professor Khiara Bridges basically calling Josh Hawley on his line of questioning, which is effectively the dude in the comments section going, "What is a woman?" When it comes to abortion rights and the standing precedent around Roe v. Wade, what this does. And she's giving him a masterclass in the fact that yes, cis women can get pregnant, but a lot of cis women can't get pregnant. Also, transgender women can get pregnant, or trans men can get pregnant. Like all the ways that we can be trans inclusive with our language. He is triggered by that. He's triggered by the idea of a trans man probably getting pregnant. But there's more. It continues.
And it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it.
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think so.
So you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this? Where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Just so spicy, so good. Professor Bridges asking Josh Hawley to come to her classroom, talk about the way that the law does and should protect all people, including trans people, and basically telling him, look, there is nothing that is lost on this issue, as if, and Yasmin, as if he even cared about, let's say strictly we're talking about cis women. As if Josh Hawley even cared about abortion rights for cis women because they're taking them away from all people right now.
Yeah, this whole thing is just meant to distract. And first of all, kudos to the professor for the way that she handled him. She had eloquence, she had tact. She didn't even seem surprised or put off that that was the angle that Josh Hawley chose to take. But this entire interaction just shows how incapable our government is at actually governing. It's become an institution where they don't actually want to govern. They don't want to protect people. The Republicans are rolling back progressive reforms from the past century, even going back to like the Salem witch trials, and the Democrats aren't doing anything to stop it from happening. They're fighting culture wars rather than addressing the issues that are actually endangering and killing people in this country, and they're denying that their actions and that their words have any impact on these communities. They're misdirecting conversations, and they're using trigger words to further divide a populace where one side just doesn't even understand the other side anymore.
Absolutely, they want us to get tripped up on trans inclusive language, to just start thinking about that forever and ever and ever. And not actually focusing on the issue, which is not only are trans people in danger, but all people who can get pregnant are in danger, including cis women, when it comes to this kind of rollback. And she's right about the violence. So according to a 2021 Time report, anti-trans violence has surged in the wake of the increased legislation targeting trans people. Because remember, it's not just about the SCOTUS ruling. A 2021 UCLA report also found that trans people, particularly Black and brown trans people, were significantly more likely to be victims of violence than cis people. To say nothing of, suicide rates and addiction, self-harm and all that. Yasmin, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, the thing is, he's sitting there denying that his words and his actions have any impact on people in this country. And we know that that's not true. We've seen various different groups, including the trans community, see increased levels of violence in their community because of things that politicians are pushing, different sorts of rhetoric that our politicians are refusing to give up, even though they know that people are suffering real physical violence and danger because of the words of these politicians. And they're so far removed from it that it doesn't really matter to them. They can say whatever they want from the hallowed halls of Congress, and they know that nothing will ever come back and hurt them. And that's a problem, that's a huge problem. And Josh Hawley today, or in that interaction, he wouldn't even acknowledge that. And that's a problem, that's a huge problem.
Absolutely, and we should also remember that Marsha Blackburn questioned Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson in a similar way. And like, I just wanna note that it's been Black women on a national stage that have stood up for trans people and been incredibly like stalwarts in terms of not allowing the far right to steamroll this issue, to distract from what's really important, and to protect people's lives. So yeah,